Right, hello wine drinking people. Time for more of what I've had to drink yesterday, and this just kind of was one of these dinners I got invited to last minute. So those of you that are saying, hey man, I didn't see an event on the calendar with Mark Perrin, I want to come to that. Chateau Beaucastel is one of my favorites. Well, let me tell you, a great night out, and I'm always willing to have dinner at Strip Steak, Michael Mina's newest place in the Fontainebleau. Always excellent food, great service. These guys do it right down there. And, you know, Mark Perrin, I've had a chance to break bread with him a couple times. He was at the Great Wine Seminar, and these wines from Chateau Beaucastel I'm very familiar with. I visited Beaucastel in 1994, my very first visit to Europe, and one of the most unique facilities I've ever been in. They had this steam machine for the grapes, and, you know, it's a property that a lot of people think has got this Brettanomyces plaguing the wine, but, you know, Mourvedre has this animal kind of character, and a lot of these wines actually don't have any Brett in them at all. They just have a high concentration of Mourvedre. And we started out with a little Delamotte Blanc de Blanc. It has nothing to do with the Perrin family, but it is brought in by Vineyard Brands. And one of my favorite new houses that we've introduced to the store here. And this cuvee is based on the 2007 vintage, and really rich. I love Blanc de Blanc, 100% Chardonnay cuvées. This wine has a lovely melon, kind of apple and raw almond note to the nose, some orange blossom. And on the palate, very creamy as it opens up, some nice buttery notes to it. Really delicious, 7 grams of residual sugar, but wonderful bracing acidity to balance that out. This Blanc de Blanc, absolutely fabulous. All right, the Chateau Miraval, and some people wonder what Miraval is doing on the table. This is Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie's property, 1,000 acres in the Cotes de Provence, and this is your classic Cotes de Provence rosé. Well, 3 years ago, the Perrin family accepted their invite to become their winemakers, their marketers, and their partners, basically, in this property, and, you know, Mark says it is just an incredibly beautiful property, and this rosé, you're, like I said, textbook Cotes de Provence rosé, light pink color, lovely light strawberry, raspberry fruit, bone dry, and a little bit of that briny minerality at the finish. Really beautiful stuff. Some pretty floral notes in this wine. An excellent example of Cotes de Provence rosé, and also kind of a little odd-shaped bottle, but, you know, hey, for rosé, you just throw it in the fridge and drink it. We don't need a, you know, a standard bottle for that. It's not going to stay in the bins very long. 2014 vintage, and then the 2012 Chateauneuf de Pape Blanc, which is mostly old vine Roussanne, and only 10% of the wine made at Beaucastel is white. They have all 13 varietals here. Actually, I think he said he had 14 varietals planted. There's, I think, 15 or 16 actually, but 13 that most people know about, 5 of which are white and Roussanne. This is they make an old vine Roussanne, which is absolutely stunning. And this is that's from one parcel that's planted in 1909. Wow. And Roussanne is really unique because it goes through this kind of dormant stage in the middle of its life. And Mark described this, and you know, it's one of those things you just can't explain. The wine turns somewhat dark. It looks oxidized. It smells like it's oxidized, and it's dead or dying. And then a couple years later, the wine comes out of that phase, turns light again. It is the oddest thing, and we recommend you drink these wines young or old. But when they turn middle age, they just misbehave. So the Roussanne Blanc, though, has a beautiful bouquet: quince, white peaches, white flowers, honeysuckle, rock-like minerality. These guys were one of the first people to go biodynamic. Jacques Perrin, the grandfather, was into meditation and yoga and stuff like that, and he was the first person on the organic train in the 70s. People thought he was a little kooky, but the wines totally made biodynamically, like everything the Perrin family does. This wine's got a slightly oily texture. Roussanne has a lovely richness to it, and but wonderful acidity here. You could keep this wine for 20 years, but you don't want to drink it between 10 and 15. All right, then the Perrin Gigondas Vieille Vigne Largenay. I failed French class in high school and college, but let me tell you, this Gigondas is absolutely stunning. Gigondas is only a few miles away from Chateauneuf de Pape, and a very diverse appellation. And these guys focused on a few vineyard sites that had a lot of sand on them, an outcropping of sand. And one of the things that sand does is it prohibits phylloxera. So this vineyard that they bought down there is 140 years old. Mark was describing the trees like, the vines, like he says, they're like little trees. It is unbelievable. And this 100% Grenache parcel produces an absolutely stunning wine. This 2010 was my favorite wine on the table this evening, and just a lovely richness. Not as big as the Beaucastel, but to me it had more nuance and lovely balance, really silky tannins. This wine had a lovely finish to it, and I mean, just absolutely stunning. 140-year-old vine Grenache. Hey, for $90, it's maybe the most expensive Gigondas I've ever had, but it is also the best, and like I said, my wine of the night. We had 2 vintages of Beaucastel. I think it's interesting to show an older wine because you can see where this wine is going. As Mark described, the 12 is still in its first stage of life. It has that beautiful, bright, mixed berry pie fruit and that lovely garrigue quality that the wines of Chateauneuf to Pape have, this mixed herb and flower note that you get from the surrounding area. And the 12th, like I said, very youthful, but very drinkable also. The one showing a little bit of age, and you'd notice more of the earthy characters to it, the dried meats, the dried flowers, and the soil definitely becoming more apparent, the truffle, the forest floor, the tobacco. But Mark says these are 2 similar style vintages, but the 01 now entering its second stage in life. If you like dirt, I always say there's 2 kinds of people in the wine world, fruity people and dirty people. So the fruity people are going to like the 12, the dirty people like the 01. And then a little treat for dessert, the 2011 Muscat, Baumes de Venise. And this is a very specific dessert wine, and it is fortified to stop the fermentation. That's how it gets its sweetness. And this wine has a beautiful bouquet here of flowers, apricots, peaches, and finishes a little bit sweet, but very nice and great with fresh fruit. And like I said, these guys did a great job with the food again. A wonderful night was had here with Mark Perrin. Some stunning stuff. Check it out, everything we had to drink from Chateau Beaucastel. I'm your host, Andrew Lampasoni, signing off for the Wine Watch, saying remember, always drink the good stuff first.